What's more important to me is not what happens inside a fence, it's when they go home. Are the guys better when they go home than they are while they're sitting in here? Locking somebody up 24 hours a day and giving them 3 meals and then say go out and sin no more, we'd like to believe that works, but it's proven over and over it doesn't. So you've got to do things that make people vested in life. When they get out, they know how to live life as good neighbors to somebody.
For nearly 20 years, Jim McKinney has been a warden at correctional facilities across Iowa. When he transferred to the Iowa Medical Classification Center 2 years ago, he acted quickly to implement a therapy dog program.
You tell inmates how to be responsible, but telling somebody and actually learning responsibility are two different things. So what I did was realize that a dog is going to teach responsibility because you got to wake up in the middle of the night, take care of them, you have to clean up after them, you have to feed them. You have to start thinking about the dog instead of always about yourself.
Using inmates to train dogs was a concept that Animal Services Supervisor Liz Ford had thought about for years. So when the prison reached out to expand its program, there was zero hesitation.
That was the word I needed. It's like, there's no better time, we need to make this happen.
With a small staff, mostly made of volunteers, there isn't always enough time to work with the shelter animals as much as they would like.
Those dogs that come in that are either very fearful of people and they need practice and they need to learn how to trust people, or dogs that are really rambunctious and ill-mannered and lots of jumping up and sort of crazy behavior. Those types of dogs don't really show well in the kennel environment at the animal shelter.
The dogs are matched with an inmate who live and work with the animal to improve manners and teach basic obedience skills.
When they're ready to go back to the shelter and go into a kennel and find their forever home, they're more well-behaved, they present better, they're more adoptable.
Volunteers with the Animal Center work with the inmates to set goals and teach them proper training techniques.
A lot of it's just socialization, social skills, being able to stay still when someone pets them, being able to sit quietly and politely at a door, being able to not lunge and jump. And I mean, these are things that we would expect from a pet, but don't always come from the dogs that we're getting in.
Their body language is actually pretty amazing once you're able to learn about what exactly they are telling you.
You have to be patient, you have to take your time, you have to show them love. You can't just get mad at them and throw in the towel, they don't deserve that.
Taking part in this program is a privilege for these inmates. It's a responsibility they don't take lightly.
These guys are committed to learning about dogs and committed to being the best dog trainers and dog handlers that they can be.
It gives them a sense of purpose, they feel good about themselves, they feel like they're giving of themselves.
Many of the dogs the animal shelter takes in are neglected and abused. And the process of rebuilding trust is something many inmates can relate to.
Some of them are kind of broken when they get here, and well, some of the guys that get here are kind of broken as well. So when you can see that process of rehabilitation, that process of changing lives, one dog at a time and also one person at a time, it's really amazing to be a part of something like that.
A lot of it comes from learning how to deal with yourself and patience and learning how to be compassionate, because a lot of the dogs that we get in here now come from a lot of rough backgrounds. I mean, just like some people that are in here too. So, I mean, the matchup is really something unique.
You come from the regular prison environment to where you're looked at every day for what you're here for. And then you get to have a dog that is it has no sense of what did you do wrong, why, what, you know what I mean? I mean, you get the unbiased attention from a dog.
The program uses reward-based training methods, setting a positive environment in the facility. And through the process, they develop strong bonds with their animals.
Paisley's kind of the queen around here. She's amazing at what she does.
Every day with Sibby is goofy and fun.
And through that bond, they learn a tough lesson.
They don't know what it's like to love unconditionally and then have to give something up for the better of everything. There are tears. There is joy, though, to know that how they interacted with the dog changed that dog's life to where it now has a forever home.
These big guys, they work out all the time, they got tattoos all over them, and you look at them, you're like, that's a tough guy. And then, they take their dog and you just see them break down to the most basest human form. And I mean, it cuts you sometimes, it really, but I mean, in the same point, it kind of returns you to humanity, and you really realize that these people are people too.
While only a select number of inmates get to take part in the training program, others still get the benefits of having a pet around.
The day brightening factor that these dogs bring is amazing.
When you're set in a real prison and you watch guys on reception and they get out of line for the phone to get into line to pet the dog. You see men that do the big tough guy thing and they just melt. They absolutely melt when they get to pet a dog.
The handlers work with their companions to bring light to other inmates during their darkest hours.
There was 4 or 5 of us going for this therapy visit, and I saw this kid sitting over by the phone, and I walked over to him. I said, "Do you like dogs?" And he says, "Yeah." I said, "Would you like to pet one?" He goes, "Well, can I?" I said, "Yeah." And after we was done, and we really didn't talk anymore, but he looked at me and he told me thank you. And I thought, okay, this is what I do, but you're welcome. He said, "No, really, thank you." He said, "Because now I'm able to call my mom and have something positive to be able to tell her."
Including regular visits to an inmate who has a terminal illness.
And here he is, he's gonna die in prison, and he's allowing this dog, and he gets up there and he just hugs her and pets her and loves on her, and you could just see him for that moment being a happy guy.
The lessons learned through this program will help guide the inmates as they transition back into society.
I haven't always been the most social of people, and so I think this has really forced me to interact with people on a professional level and really learn how to deal with people.
This program is helping not only rehabilitate dogs, but it's rehabilitating the inmates, the guys. They're putting their hearts and souls into it. I've never seen a program work as well as a dog program.
It is really about second chances, and it is about having faith and trusting.
They're all contributing, and that's making inmates better people, and that's our ultimate goal in prisons. It's not to keep people locked up, but to make them better citizens when they go home.
And for the inmates, the program is working.
Most of us are here for a reason. Literally the idea to be able to help, to be able to do something positive and healthy and good, and to give back to a community. For us to be a part of something like that is pretty amazing.
It's been a real adventure of growth and reflection, and they say hindsight's 20/20, and it's true, because I mean, I look back at the person I was a year ago before I joined this program and the person that I am now, and I mean, it's like I'm actually looking at a human being.
I've got to work with 2 shelter dogs, and the one big thing for them, for the dogs that we were able to send out of here, is we know that we've forever changed their life, and I hope that the dog that we send out of here gets to change somebody else's life like that dog did mine.